most common knowledge of Kundalini is that it rises up and reaches the Sahasrara, which is the seat of the divine, especially the divine masculine. So Shiva, Shakti, and the merger happens.
Is it really that easy to awaken this divine feminine energy within every one of us?
It's not something to achieve. You become still. It comes to you. You have to... Okay, one thing that you can try achieving or try chasing, it's actually a paradox, is stillness.
Is it possible that somebody has been living throughout their life with an awakened Kundalini?
Yes, 100% that's possible. There are some practices in Tantra that the mother and the father can do to ensure that the child in the womb gets their Kundalini awakened inside the womb.
Hello, I'm Rangoli Sharma and welcome back to Mystic Mind, an exclusive English series of Speaking Tree, bringing you a new episode every Friday. In today's episode, I've brought to you a very powerful and transformational phenomenon, Kundalini rising. This dormant energy that resides in all of us wanting to be awakened. How to awaken your Kundalini? What happens when you awaken your Kundalini? What are the methods or techniques to use? Can you rise your Kundalini without a guru? Or crucially, how to balance this overwhelming energy? Join me in this myth-breaking and insightful episode on Kundalini rising. And for this particular episode, we have with us a yoga practitioner and spiritual coach, Disha Pandey. Disha, welcome to Speaking Tree.
Thank you so much.
How are you feeling?
Good, very good.
And since today we are going to talk about the divine feminine energy, Kundalini, so I must say that you are reflecting a pure divine feminine energy yourself.
Thank you. That's very sweet of you. Thank you.
So as you said before we start the podcast, you were chanting a mantra to me. So how about we start the podcast with the mantra itself?
I would love that. Yes, that's a wonderful idea. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Sit tall. Even if you're not going to chant, just try to sit tall. Okay. Bring your palms in front of your heart, Anjali Mudra, Namaste position. Take a long inhale through the nose. Slowly start to exhale through the nose. After the next inhale, we will chant the mantra. Om Purnamadam Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Rub your palms together as fast as possible. Cup your face with your palms. Feel the warmth. Blink your eyes a few times within the palms. Slide your palms on your face, opposite shoulders, arms, chest, abdomen, low back, hips and legs. Gently open your eyes.
Wow, what a beautiful start.
Yes. Thanks to you.
My pleasure, ma'am. So, Kundalini,
yes,
the divine feminine energy within all of us. So, for somebody who does not know much about this word or this term Kundalini, the basic definition would be that it's the divine feminine energy within yourself, which is sitting at the base of your spine and which wants to be awakened.
Yes.
So, beyond that, what is Kundalini through your lens?
Thank you for asking this question. You know, I have a wonderful self-made story about it. This is how I like to look at it, okay? Maybe more people think of it the same way. Maybe it is mentioned somewhere. I don't know. I somehow came up with it. I think of this entire universe as a love story.
Wow.
Okay? the entire creation as a love story. So Shiva, the Shiva Tatva, I'm not talking about Shiva as a form, but I'm talking about the Tatva. Okay? Shiva Tatva and Shakti, the energy form. Love story between Shiva and Shakti, right? Shakti is also known as Maya,
Yes.
right? Shiva Tattva can also be called Brahman, Purush, Prakriti, whatever name you want to give it. It's just semantics. Basically, it's this love story between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. Now, the divine masculine, what is it that we know of the divine masculine? That it is shapeless, formless, right? Endless, beginningless. And since it has none of that quality, it is qualityless, right? Since it is beyond all of that, Shiva can never really experience Shakti, correct? So basically, okay, let's think of that. Is this, if Brahman, the divine masculine, has to experience Maya, what would Brahman do? It can only do it through Kaya.
Yes.
Right? If we do not embody ourselves, and when I say we, I mean the divine consciousness. If as divine consciousness, I do not embody myself, I do not manifest in this human form, I would never be able to experience Maya in all its glory.
Absolutely.
Right? The surge of emotions, the misery, the bliss, the joy, all of it. Can I experience it?
No.
Without form, without Kaya. I cannot. So, if you talk about my lens is that we as humans are a vessel for the divine masculine to experience divine feminine. And we can only do it if we live in Maya. And when this dance kind of is complete, we go back to unconsciousness, right? But this is the cycle that keeps on happening. And we are all just manifestations of the divine masculine. This is all a play. It is extremely important for one to become many, for this Maya to really play itself. If I was just me, if there was just one human and one male human and one female human, this wouldn't be complete. There needs to be many. So, like ekoham bahusyam, one became many. So, one consciousness manifested itself in many different forms, right? Only if that happens, the Maya would be able to play itself truly. Like there would be revenge, there would be love, there would be passion, there will be fights, there will be lust.
Yes.
Everything will only be there if there are many. So I look at it as this, that divine masculine, divine feminine, it's a love story. Even if you look at the Kundalini, it's just the divine feminine trying to merge with the divine masculine, going up, right? It has to rise up. That's what most of us understand, right? It's the most common knowledge of Kundalini is that it rises up and reaches the Sahasrar, which is the seat of the divine, especially the divine masculine. So Shiva, Shakti, and the merger happens.
Yeah.
So it's nothing, just a truly loving form of Shakti trying to reach the truly loving form of Shiva.
Beautiful. What a poetic and philosophical explanation that was.
Thank you.
And I absolutely loved it. Now that we understood the union of the two, what is the process of union actually like? And by that I mean, what is the process of Kundalini rising? How does Kundalini awakens in your body? Because there's a lot that's being said on the internet, that you do this technique, you do this method. I mean, is it really that easy to awaken this divine feminine energy within every one of us?
If you ask me if it is easy, then I would give you an answer which is both affirmative and negative. Yes and no. Okay. First of all, yes, in Tantra there are a lot of practices that you can do to awaken the Kundalini. But there are 4 parts of yoga for a reason, right? Even a bhakti yogi can awaken the Kundalini. You don't really have to do all of those practices. In fact, even with just pure devotion, your Kundalini can awaken. So, no, it is not always about the techniques, number one. Number two, the reason I said that it is easy is because of this. Like, if you can remain untouched and just be purely devotional, it is easy. Okay? But no, because it is very difficult to do that in the first place.
Yeah.
Right? It is extremely reliable. We talked about it, right? Maya is there for a reason, right? So Maya is going to do everything to keep you engaged in it.
Yeah.
Right? So to keep you engaged in it, it is going to throw at you a lot of different kinds of questions, a lot of different kinds of digressions, and it is going to be extremely difficult to follow one path. Be it Gyan path, Bhakti path, Karma, or Raj, whatever, 4 different forms of yoga, right? Whatever path you choose, it's going to test you. Like anything. So, it takes a lot of persistence. It takes a lot of self-love. Lot of self-love. The reason I say self-love is because, and I didn't say discipline, because discipline is not independent. Discipline cannot come on itself. If there is no self-love, discipline is impossible. Right? It will be forced. You'll fall off from that track. For you to stay on that track, you really need to love that journey. For you to really love that journey, you need to be absolutely, unapologetically in love with yourself. And when I say love with yourself, your true self, I'm not saying love with the perceived self, which is the perceived self. Like, for example, I am Disha, I'm someone's wife, someone's daughter, a yoga teacher, whatever identities that I have. This is my perceived reality. This is not my true reality. For me to be absolutely in love with myself, I need to be in love with the true self. Only if I have that strong urge, right? That strongest urge to meet myself and to keep meeting myself at every point in my life, I will stay on track. Nothing can get me off track. Even if I digress, I'll come back. Because that's my default setting. This is what I say to most of the practitioners, that make it your default setting if you can. Like, even if you digress for a moment, you will come back to it. Right? If you don't get to brush your teeth for 5 days, you're living in the wilderness. The moment you come back to your home, you'll brush your teeth because that's your default.
Yeah.
Can you make this your default? Your journey, your path, your practices, right? When this becomes your default, nothing can take you off track. And even if you go off track, you come back to it. So yes, that's why I said it is easy, it is difficult, it is both. It just depends on your will, how willing you are, and how do you exercise your will, right? The willpower. How do you exercise it? So yes, it really depends on that.
So now I'm sure like our audience would have the same question. How can they awaken their Kundalini? Like you mentioned few parts, right? But how, like as a seeker, if I want to feel that powerful transformational energy within me, how do I awaken it?
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
You won't like my answer. Don't.
Don't?
Yeah. Okay, here's the thing. I've said this before. I say this all the time. When you were young, all that you were chasing was good grades.
Yeah.
Then you grew up. All that you were chasing was admission in a nice college, university. Then you grew up. All that you were chasing was a nice relationship. Then you grew up. All that you were chasing was marriage, getting married, or maybe, good job, career, promotions. Then all that you were chasing was probably a child. And then you start chasing their education, their career, whatnot. It's a chase. Correct? All your life it's a chase. You don't have to make this a chase. The only reason somebody would ask that question, like how can I awaken my Kundalini, would come from a place of chase. Like they're chasing it. They really want to achieve it.
I agree.
It's not something to achieve. You become still. It comes to you. You have to... Okay, one thing that you can try achieving or try chasing, it's actually a paradox, is stillness. So try, see if you can do that. Like really be still. You see what I mean? In absolute silence, your true innate intelligence speaks louder than everything else. But for that, you have to be in silence for long enough. And it's not even about time. I'm not even talking about time here as a concept. Intensely enough in silence, in absolute stillness and silence. And you can do this in various ways. And you have to really train yourself to do it. See, okay, here's the thing. If let's say you are somebody who is too much involved in the material life, you have a lot of stressors around you, and you are not in connection with yourself, you're not grounded, you're not centered. And let's say I tell you to be still. Will you be able to?
No, not
right?
at all.
There are a lot of things in your mind. Yeah. Okay, I tell you to sit in silence for 10 minutes. First of all, you might not be able to do that. Correct? Let's say even if you sit in silence for 10 minutes, your mind wouldn't be silent. It will weave stories constantly, right? The kind of stories really depends on your training, the kind of training your mind has, the kind of patterns your mind has built. It can go to anxiety, anxious thoughts, or it can go to future planning. Like, oh, tomorrow I have this, I'm going to do this, I'll do that, I'll do it in this way. Or it can go to past, right? Like, oh, that person did that to me. What did that mean? That person said this to me, what it could have meant. You're going to go to your past, future, into anxious thoughts, depressive thoughts, whatever, planning thoughts, whatever it is, obsessive thoughts, depending on your patterns. Correct? So your mind wouldn't be silent. So how do you train yourself to be silent? That's what yoga teaches us. That's the practice. That's where the practice starts. So even something as simple as asana practice. First of all, a lot of people just believe that yoga is asana practice, by the way. Bendy postures and people doing things like a gymnast. Yeah. That's not it.
Yeah, they limit it to just physical postures and exercise.
That's a very myopic point of view on yoga, right? So we have to understand that yoga is way beyond that, first of all. And even if you, let's say, pick that particular practice, let's say, okay, let's just pick asana. Even in that, you can train your mind to be still. Sthiram sukham asanam, that's what we say. Stable, comfortable, only then it is called asana. It's not a yogasana if it's not stable and if it's not comfortable. Sthir is stable, sukham is comfortable. Not direct translations, but loosely translated in English. That simple practice of asana can teach you, see how beautiful this is, can teach you to still your mind even when you are in a seemingly stressful situation.
Yeah.
Me trying to do, let's say, headstand, back bend, whatever, forward bend, or just me trying to touch my nose to my knees. It's not a very comfortable position. Your body does not want to do that. Yeah, let's face it. No, but people's bodies in general, especially today, does not want to move. Only if you have trained it in a manner and it has tasted the bliss of movement, it would want to move. Otherwise, it does not want to move if it has been sedentary for a while. So that's a kind of stressful situation to be in. Me trying to do headstand and stay in headstand. In that stressful situation, can I still my mind? Can I put my awareness in my breath? Can I just notice my breath? Now this is going to still your mind, right? You train yourself to be in stillness through asana practice, similarly through pranayama practice, similarly through all the meditative practices, mindfulness meditation, mantra meditation, tratak meditation, all the meditative practices that you have, they train you to enter into a state of stillness. And that is basically how you can awaken your Kundalini.
Just by deeply entering into that state of stillness.
Yes.
That is actually Kundalini Awakening.
Every practice out there is just trying to help you reach there. It's just trying to help you reach there.
Okay.
The moment it starts with Bhuta Shuddhi. Your body's with the cleansing of the body. Okay, the cleansing of the 5 elements basically, primarily. So, if your body is clean enough, only then there's a channel called Sushmana. Through that channel, the Kundalini rises up and pierces through the chakras. That's what we know about Kundalini, right? Generic information that we have about Kundalini. That can only happen if there are no blockages.
Yeah, only then it would move swiftly, right?
Exactly. Let's say if I have a lot of blockages in my life, I feel whatever. Let's say there's a lot of self-worth issues. Like I feel that I'm not enough, I do not think highly of myself, or I think too highly of myself. Whatever, imbalanced, then it's a blockage. How is the Kundalini gonna rise up? It's impossible. It's form of energy.
Yeah.
Right? It's from electricity. Think of electricity. Everything needs to function properly.
Yeah.
Right? If there's a misconnection, then it's not gonna function properly. If the cord is cut somewhere, if they use good conductors for a reason, so it's a proper system. It has to happen through a process.
Yeah, and there needs to be a smooth channel so that it can flow easily.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this body is nothing but a vessel.
Yeah.
Right? You need to keep this vessel clean. If this vessel is not clean, and by cleanliness I don't just mean your bowel movements, by the way. Clean means actually truly clean, even your thoughts, even the way your mind functions. That level of cleanliness can get you there.
Okay.
Otherwise, no matter how many practices you are doing, it's just useless. Let me just put it out straight. It's useless if your if this is not clean, if this vessel is not clean enough.
So to be more clear, you need to clear your internal blockages first. Only then the Kundalini awakens. You mentioned about the chakra system, and people, when they usually think of Kundalini, they have this generic information, as you said, that it moves from the root chakra to the crown chakra. But I would love to know in detail how this process happens when we specifically talk about chakras. How does the Kundalini rises from root to the crown chakra? What really happens there?
Okay. What really happens is basically, again, it happens through a process of you slowly awakening your chakras. Let's call it activating, just semantics, whatever you might want to call it. Okay. You might believe in it, you might not believe in it, but there are energy centers in your body.
Yeah.
Not just 7 are the most commonly known ones. There are more. Yes, there are more. But 7 are the high-powered energy centers. Let's say, just say electricity, we have electricity centers, right? Some are high intensity, high power, some are other ways. So, high-powered energy centers. Starts from the root, like you said, to the Sahasrar, the top one, right? Now, what happens here is that once you start to work on yourself through your practices, you first start to identify. Your practices help you identify if there's a blockage anywhere. Where is the blockage? It really depends on a lot of things. It can be your lifestyle related, it can be your thought related. Most of the things are thought related. Wherever the blockage is, your practice is going to clear that blockage. Let's pick the same example, self-worth. Let's say if I have an issue of self-worth, Your solar plexus is responsible for it, Manipura chakra. Now, when you start your practices, you start to identify. This is the beauty of spiritual practices, that yogic practices, that you start to identify that this is my scope of work, scope of improvement. This is the place where I need to work on myself, and you start to do it, and not from a place of fixing yourself. See, this is also very important to understand. Not from the mindset of fixing yourself as if something's broken. There's nothing broken about you. Okay, let's establish that also. Just from a perspective of self-love. All of this can only happen from a perspective of self-love. If you're doing it from the perspective of that I'm broken and I need to fix this about myself and all of that, it's basically feeding into the same issue, right? The root is not fine. You have to understand that the mindset, the source, needs to be fine for you to be able to do these spiritual practices and really get the most out of it. Not that you should worry about getting the most out. Again, the reason I said don't, when you asked me that question, is because don't chase the result. Do your practices for the sake of doing the practices. That's why I said self-love. It's very important. Let's say today, if I start doing my practices believing that, oh, tomorrow it's going to awaken my Kundalini, then I'm coming from the wrong mindset.
Place of chasing.
And when I say wrong, there's nothing right and wrong as such about it. But what I truly mean is, it's not going to serve me. That's it. Because I'm doing it out of expectations of some result. What's going to happen if I have these expectations of result is that if they don't fulfill, then I'm going to
disappointed.
And then fall off the track.
Yeah.
Like I said, discipline is not independent. So it has to happen from a place of self-love, self-compassion, kindness, a lot of that. All right, let's go back. So when you start doing these practices, you start to identify that, let's say that I have this particular issue that I need to work on. You start working on it, the blockage is clear. Then you start to identify something else, it's like a layer, like an onion. You have to peel it, right? It can actually unpeel itself if you're truly in it, in the practice, okay? So you start to identify that, okay, there's more, okay, there's more, okay, there's more. And then slowly and gradually you clear out all the blockages. It's similar to cleaning your home, right? You start finding dirt accumulated in one part of your home, you clean it, then you see that, okay, something else also needs cleaning, then you start to clean that, and it's a process, right? You have to clean it systematically, and then gradually the entire home would be cleaned. So it's the same process. This body is called a vessel, a temple, for a reason. It's your home. So you clean it with the process, and when you do that, slowly the Kundalini starts to awaken. But I refrain from saying all of these things usually, because what it does is that it puts an expectation in the mind of the practitioner that, if I do this, this is going to happen. I'm going back to the same thing. You don't have to do it to awaken your Kundalini. So to answer your question, what do you have to do to awaken the Kundalini? I would just say, what do you have to do? To awaken the Kundalini will happen automatically. You don't do things to awaken the Kundalini. That happens to you. You do things.
Yeah, as a result that happens.
As a result that happens. But you don't have to worry about the result, because if you're worrying about the result, then off track.
Yeah.
Then you're off track. Yes. So to come back to your question, how the Kundalini moves through chakras is basically when you unblock the chakras through your practices, and then it moves through the Sushmana Nadi basically. According to the ancient texts, it moves through each of the chakras, and then there are different experiences that people have when it moves.
Okay.
Yes.
So what really happens if the Kundalini awakens? And by that I mean, they say that it's a very intense form of energy, Yes. It's not something that you can easily handle. Maybe it can disorient you in your, normal life.
Yes.
So can somebody live with an awakened Kundali? Like, can somebody live a very normal life with an awakened Kundali?
Yes. Okay. And first of all, you're very right. There are multiple parts to your question. One is that, can people handle it? according to our ancient texts, it is very difficult to handle it alone. Yes, which is why a guru is required.
Okay.
Yes, you should ideally practice Kundalini Awakening or all the practices that you do for it under a guru, because it is very difficult to manage on your own. However, it's not impossible. Yes, somebody can live with an awakened Kundalini. That person would be different, kind of different from what we are used to seeing in the world. However, doesn't mean that this person would walk past you and you would know, oh my God, this is an awakened person. It might just pass by you and you might not even realize. They might not even feel the need to tell you that I'm an awakened person. Yes.
What kind of different?
So, one of the most basic differences is that they will always live in the present, in the present moment. For them, it's all a drama that's happening. There's nothing sour in the past, and there's nothing very exciting in the future. They know it's all a drama, and they know the time is not linear. And here's the thing: an awakened person can choose their role in the society. Okay, like Ravan was an awakened person.
His Kundalini was awakened.
Ravan, the beast, was an awakened person. He chose a role for himself, right? Similarly, Raja Janak was an awakened person. He chose a role for himself. He was still a king. A lot of people also say that they would renounce everything. Yeah, not necessarily. It really depends on a lot of things. So here's the thing. You do not have any fixed labels or stereotypes for somebody who is awakened. Okay. However, there are subtle signs that a person would have if they have an awakened. Here's the thing, not even awakened, even when the process starts, there are subtle shifts that start to happen in their lives. Okay. Their first thing, probably their posture will be perfect.
My Kundalini is awakened.
Yes. And and they don't really have to force a posture. It's very organic for them. It's not very difficult for them to stay in an upright posture or whatever posture. They are very stable and comfortable in their posture. Okay. Another thing that will happen that you'll notice is that they wouldn't ever have any self-worth sort of issues. Okay, let's start with basics. They wouldn't have any extreme desires and urges. Let's start with the root chakra. They wouldn't have any extreme need for money and for material things in life. Okay, things will come to them. They'll attract automatically. Sometimes you might not even understand how this person is making a living, doing nothing, but they do. Or maybe they are doing things and things are very easily coming to them. And you'd feel that why is it so easy for that person, right? Then they wouldn't give in to extreme desires and urges.
Like physical desires.
Like physical desires. They wouldn't feel the need. Like they wouldn't have any compulsions as such. Let's come up, further up, solar plexus. They wouldn't have any confidence issues. That they would come across as very positive, confident people. They would also be very creative, like extremely creative people. The sacral chakra, because of the sacral chakra.
The creation energy comes out of them.
Yes, they'll be very creative. Rising up, they'll be so full of love that the moment you meet them, you'll feel like you are loved. In their presence, you are loved. Okay.
To everyone.
It doesn't really matter who is in front of them. They would not distinguish. See, somebody who has understood this, you and the other person wouldn't be different for them. Everyone is the same. Even if I start shouting at you at this right moment, you would see me with love. You might choose to show anger. That's a different thing. You might choose. Like, for example, we shout at kids when they are doing something which might harm them, right? We do that, but we are not really angry. We just show anger, right? So they might choose to do that, but they would function out of love. And if you are also, okay, not everyone will also feel it. Here's the thing. You also have to be somewhere connected to yourself to be able to feel that. Otherwise, you might just find them very annoying. Like, how can they be so calm? No matter what happens, they don't react. They are not doing anything. They're always, you might as well find this annoying, by the way. So they would function out of love, which does not mean that they wouldn't show signs of emotions. They will still show signs of emotions, but they wouldn't identify with their emotions. Okay? Just because let's say you have an angry encounter with me, would not mean that you will never talk to me. For example, I'm giving a random example. Rising up, they would be very good orators. They might choose silence. That's a different thing. But when they talk, they would draw attention towards them. Usually, their voice might be deep.
And clear.
And clear, yes. Their choice of words are going to be, they're going to stem out of, say two things. Love and intelligence, right? Because for them, it's both open. If it's just intelligence and not love, then that's a different thing. If it's just love and not intelligent, then again, different thing. But the words that they would speak would stem from both.
Okay.
Even if something is very important to be said to you, they would know how to say it lovingly, even if it is going to hurt.
Yeah.
Because they are functioning from both ways. They would have kind of knowledge that they might not even know where it came from. Innate intelligence. Some people know multiple languages. They have never learned those languages, but they know those languages because it's coming from innate intelligence. And in general, in their presence, again, if you are connected to yourself, you would feel that things are going to sort themselves out. There are some people in our lives where we feel that things are just going to be fine and you don't feel there's no fear of things going bad. That kind of energy. All of this combined. Now think of all of this combined. Those are some subtle signs.
Okay, to summarize it, it's like a very balanced state of a human being. But since we said that Kundalini is an intense energy, but how does this balance and intensity, how do we identify that? Because one, we say that Kundalini is very intense, but here we are experiencing it in a very balanced form. So like, what's the difference?
Kundalini is intense, which is why they say that it needs to be activated under a guru. It needs to be worked upon under a guru, because you need to be a strong, sane enough container for that intense energy.
Okay.
Right? Which is why there's a lot of bhut shuddhi involved. Lot of practices to clear the body. Lot of practices to strengthen the body. Strengthen also. It's very important. Lot of practices to strengthen your mental health also. And only then you should try and do any experiments. If you are not in that state and just randomly someone tells you that, you do 4 different types of bandhas with 5 different types of breath work and you're going to awaken your Kundalini, never try it. Please, for the love of yourself, never try it. Because I have seen cases where people have been victims of extreme mental health issues, insanity issues because of the practices.
Okay.
Unorderly practices. So, which is why I say that just because you read something on the internet, even if you are just listening to me for that matter in this podcast, just because I tell you that there are certain kinds of practices that you can do, don't do them.
Yeah.
It's not something to play with.
It's energy.
It's energy. It's sacred. You have to understand the gravity of it. Absolutely. If you don't, then don't.
Yeah. So
Don't
it's
try.
more like you have to prepare yourself first for it, and then you go for these techniques and everything. Okay. What if somebody is born with an awakened Kundalini? Is it possible that somebody has been living throughout their life with an awakened Kundalini?
Yes, 100% that's possible. There are some practices in Tantra that the mother and the father can do to ensure that the child in the womb gets their Kundalini awakened inside the womb.
Wow.
Yes. Even with the practices of Garbha Sutras, according to Garbha Upanishad, if somebody practices it properly, like really takes it seriously, it's an intense sadhana that the mother and the father both have to do, and even the family members of the unborn child. If somebody does it properly, then that is possible. But it really depends on the intensity of the sadhana of the mother and the father, and it has to be taken very seriously.
Exactly.
Yes, it is possible.
Yeah. And again, as you said, that it's not something to be chased. So it's not like the parents want that, oh, I bring a child into this world who has an awakened Kundalini already, right?
Yes.
It's not something that we should chase.
Yes, and also with this understanding in mind that just because you'll be the mother and the father of a saint and somebody who has an awakened Kundalini does not mean that your life is going to be easy.
Yeah.
It is going to be even more difficult.
Yeah.
Right? Because only through difficulties you will burn your karmas. And there will be a lot of difficulties in the lives of parents of a awakened child. It's not easy.
One last question for today. How does Kundalini awakening helps then if it does not help a person clear their karmas? Because at the end we all have to fulfill our karma, no matter whether your Kundalini is awakened or not. But why do people want to reach to that state of awakening? Why do they talk a lot about it? What does it do then?
Yes, good question. Yes, okay, here's the thing. First of all, several layers of understanding has to happen here, okay? Why would one want an awakened Kundalini? Is because it's a blissful state to be in, beyond the fluctuations of the mind. Okay? Otherwise, if in general in our lives there are so many fluctuations of the mind, right? There are days of anxiety, there are days of extreme sadness and grief, then there are some very happy days, and then we expect all days to be that happy, and then some days don't turn out to be that happy, and then we are disappointed. We have so many expectations from our loved ones, and we want them to behave in a certain manner, but when they don't, we are heartbroken. Right? It brings in a lot of pain, physical, mental, emotional pain. You go beyond these pains. Okay? There are no real pains in there. It's a blissful state. It's samta bolte hain usko. Samta. Basically, it's a state of equanimity. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. Now, what happens in that state is that you are never too excited for anything, which means that you're never going to be disappointed either.
Yeah.
And you're never too sad about anything either. Now, here's the thing, okay. Blissful is not the same as happiness. Happiness comes as bouts of happiness, bouts of anxiety, bouts of depression, bouts of sadness, bouts of happiness, bouts of ecstasy. Blissful is not that state. Blissful is a state of pure consciousness. Anand, Om Anand.
Satchitanand.
Yes, Satchitanand. So that Anand is beyond positives and negatives. This is where the positive and negative have merged. Masculine and the feminine have merged. So that's the state of true Anand. Which is why somebody would want spiritual growth. But every spiritual seeker is basically on this path because it makes your life easy, right? Spirituality really makes your life easy. Without spirituality, life is extremely difficult. It's very difficult to navigate yourself through the challenges of the life. And these challenges, ultimately, what are these challenges? Ultimately, the challenges are the fluctuations of the mind only, right? So it takes you beyond the fluctuations. The definition of yoga is that, by the way. Yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. Takes you beyond the fluctuations of the mind. Okay, so that's one level of understanding. The other layer that I was saying is that it does not mean that it doesn't help you with your karmas. There are different types of karmas. You can stop accumulating more karmas.
Okay.
If I don't do it, if let's say I'm not pursuing this path and I continue doing what I'm doing, I am basically choosing to stay in the loop. It's a loop.
Yeah. As you said, it's all drama.
Yeah, it's drama and we're in a loop.
Yeah.
I choose to stay in the loop, which is not a wrong decision, by the way. Again, very important. Just because somebody is in the loop does not mean that they are weak people, wrong people, they're doing wrong with... No, nothing like that. It's their journey. It's fine. They'll come. Their time will come. The river, for example, let's talk about Ganga. It originates somewhere. The same water falls into the sea. Some part of the water falls earlier than other part of the water. But it's all the same water.
Yeah.
So it's fine. Even some people are in the beginning of their journey. They will eventually fall into merge into the one consciousness. So it's fine. But it is possible through these practices to burn your karmas and to stop accumulating more karmas.
Like you do not create new karmas.
Exactly. Let's say I meet you today. I really like you.
Thank you.
Genuinely.
I like you even more.
Thank you. Now let's say with this likeness, I start to develop an attachment. And now I'm like, oh my God, what did Rangoli think of me? I'm too attached to your idea of me. I do not want to mess my image in front of you now because I'm too attached. Now what I'm doing is...
creating new karma.
Yes, with attachment.
Yeah.
But if I'm, let's say, aware enough, I'm not even saying awakened Kundalini, by the way, here. It's at some point of your journey, you understand this. If I am detached enough, then I like you, but I'm not getting too attached to you. It does not matter to me what you think of me. Exactly. I would love it if you think nicely, but I wouldn't hate it if you think bad of me either. I would love it if we stay in touch, but I wouldn't be miserable if we do not stay in touch. Right? If I can be that detached with every situation in my life that comes about, and I'm talking about even very dear relationships in your life.
Yeah.
If I can do that, then I can stop accumulating new karma. If I can stay detached with my own emotions also, not just with other people, but with my... Ultimately, my attachment to you would also be my emotions only, by the way. So everything is basically attached to your own emotions. Can you be detached to your own emotions, your own thoughts, even the thoughts that I have in my mind? Can I say that these are Disha's thoughts and Disha is experiencing this? True consciousness is not. Right? If I can stay detached, that comes through these practices, by the way, then I'm not accumulating more karma. So yes, you can come out of the cycle of karma, the samskara, the cycle of the wheel of samskara. You can come out of that, but you don't do it for that.
Yeah.
You don't chase that result.
That's the whole point. Absolutely, ma'am.
Yes.
So any last message that you would like to give to our audience when it comes to Kundalini Awakening?
Yes. So I think one of the most important messages is the one that I've already given. Don't chase it. Like, stop chasing it if you're chasing it. Start by loving yourself, accepting yourself, caring for yourself, and being aware of yourself. These are three very important pillars of self-love, by the way. So if you can work on these three things: self-acceptance, self-awareness, self-care, this will eventually metamorphose into love, self-love, radical self-love, and then everything will happen. And then you don't really have to really worry about what practice should I do. You won't really have so many questions. Initially you will, but there will be a point that you won't really have so many questions. And even if you have questions, they'll automatically get answered.
Exactly.
The universe will give you answers.
So you would feel that bliss, as you mentioned.
Yes. And at any given moment.
It won't come into bounds, because bliss is not that, as you said.
And even if you spiral, by the way, you would find bliss in spiraling also.
And that should be the whole point of Kundalini Awakening, as we discussed in today's episode. So thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. It was lovely to have you on the show.
Likewise.
Yeah. So do let me know, how did you find today's podcast in the comment section? What are your opinions on Kundalini Awakening? Should people willingly try to awaken their Kundalini? Have you ever had any experiences of your past where you tried to awaken your Kundalini, and what were the consequences? Do let me know in the comment section, and share this podcast as much as you can, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Rangoli Sharma with you. Namaste.